Hi everyone, Karen here. Today is the last card for Christmas in July, and today we're doing something special. Kind of like when you're in the fashion show, you have to have something kind of special. You have the wedding dress. Well, today I have a Karen Burniston card that I think is kind of special. So from the front, it says ho ho ho. When you open it, it's Mr. and Mrs. Claus that pop out. And it says, "May your Christmas be merry and bright." I think this is something special. These are her pop-up balls, and they come in a couple different sizes. And these are the medium-sized ones. And we're going to go through the whole thing and how to put them all together. And I'm going to have some pictures of how they are in various stages, so you make sure you understand it. But this is what we're going to do for our last finale. So let me get the camera turned around and we will get started. I thought it would be helpful if I showed you where we were headed with this. So first I'm going to show you the Santa Claus ones. So this is what we're going to end up with before we glue the edges together and put the rubber band on the inside. So you see we have two red ones and two white ones. We're going to construct the hat and the head all here. This will be the side of his head. And then when this gets put together, this will be the bottom of his head. Then this is what his body's going to look like. This will end up getting glued together. And you'll see here that will be his front. And I think this is helpful to see this. And I'm going to put a picture of this on here as you're gluing it all together, because it is easier to glue it together flat. It is easier if you see exactly where everything is going to be. And I also have one for Mrs. Claus. Turn her around here. This is going to be her head. This is going to be her body. These are her feet. And it's going to go like this. So we will use this as our guide as we go. So we're going to start with Santa Claus. So we're going to start with his head. So we need 2 white and 2 red of the piece from set 1131, the bitty ball. Now there are 3 sizes of balls. This is the middle one. There's one that is, I think it's 20% smaller, and then the surprise ball is the bigger one. But this is the one we're going to use for this. And all the Santa pieces come from number 1176, character add-on number 2. And that's all the pieces for Mr. and Mrs. Claus. So we are going to use a mix of these two to construct this. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to take the big die here and cut out 2 white and 2 red. And that's what I have here. And then you're going to fold on all the fold lines. I'm going to fold them all down like this. And you're going to want to use paper about 100 weight. This is 110, and I think it might be a little bit thick. So I think about 100 is a good weight for this. But, you know, you can use the extra little squares that are in here that I'll show you in a second. If you have to use paper that's lighter, you can absolutely use lighter paper, because the red one is, I think, 85. And we can reinforce it on the sides here with these pieces. There's 6 of these in the original set. And these are little they're not triangles, they have 4 sides. They're quadrilaterals that will go on here. So they're decorative pieces, but they also can reinforce your paper if you feel like your paper is not thick enough. We're going to continue to fold. Everything gets folded down. This one's all folded, so we move Santa out of the way here for a moment. We're going to get some glue. And I find that these are really helpful for a project like this. These are quilting clips. You can buy them on Amazon. Just search for quilting clips and they'll come up. And they're going to be helpful here because the pieces here that have the extra wings on them, there's 2, and that's where the rubber band is also going to go in. This has to be glued down. So we're going to put a little bit of glue right here and a little bit of glue on this side. We're going to fold that down. I'm just going to clip it. Put a little glue, and clip it. I'm just going to clip it until the glue grabs. Do the same thing to the other one. All right, so we'll let that dry. All right, so while this is drying, I think this is caught. I think we're good. Nope, that still needs to dry. Okay, I'm going to line these up. So when you're lining these up, you want to make sure that they line up like this. So your openings are going in the same direction. And then you're going to take some glue. You're going to put glue what I would call the outside. And you're going to glue them together outside to outside. Now line that up. Make sure your little slit is open. And we're going to put another clip on there. Hold that together. I'm going to do the same with the reds. All right, let's see. That looks like it's set. All right, so let's see. I think we're good. Now, what I would do at home is I would cut out these 4 pieces, glue them together, and let them dry while you cut out all the other pieces you need for the feet and hands and nose and all the other stuff. And then by the time you're done cutting all that out, this is going to be completely dry. All right, so let's bring in the Santa head. We can see what we're doing here. All right, so I have a tray here with all the pieces in it. So for the hat, let's start with the hat because that's pretty obvious what we're going to do here on the top. So we're going to take one of the hexagons from the original set, the 1131, this hexagon, and we're going to cut one of those out, and that's going to get glued to the top. Just right here in the center. We're then going to take the hat piece, which is in the Santa set, and the pom-pom piece, which is this piece here, and we're going to take one of these. Now these you're going to need a bunch of those when you're all said and done. So let's take the pom-pom, glue the pom-pom on, and we'll give that a moment to dry. We'll take one of these, one of the little wiggly trim pieces, put some glue on there, and this is going to get glued across the front for the Santa hat. So that is the Santa hat. Next, we're going to move on to the rest of the hat. So we have this piece here, which when this is opened, it sits here, and the curved piece sits to the outside. So we have 2 of those. All right, so we have 2 of these here. So we're going to put them to where the curved part faces out. Now, if you take one of the curvy trim pieces, fold it in half, and cut it, it should give you the length that you need. So what we're going to do is you want the end that you cut toward the middle. So we're going to take some glue, glue that down. I just made a big mess. All right, there's one piece. So now this piece, well first, okay, so this is the 3 pieces for the hat. And then the rest of the hat will just be more of these white pieces from the trim going around the top. So before we can put the hat on his head, we have to make Santa's face. So to make his face, you're going to cut another one of the main die, one of these, in whatever flesh tone you're going to use. And then you're going to cut off one of the pieces, and that is going to get glued on the front here for Santa's face. So it's going to get glued right here. And this will go end to end and match all the way to the folds and cover the whole front. All right, the next piece we want to do is Santa's beard. And the reason why we want to do the beard is because the mustache and the nose and all that is going to go on top, so the beard needs to go on first. So we're going to put a little glue across the top. And the beard is going to go on the bottom piece. You're going to glue that right on the seam. If you look at it, it is slightly bigger than the little section here. Next will be the mustache. And this you can kind of decide which way you want his mustache to go, up or down. I'm going to make his mustache go down. This will get attached to the bottom piece, but it will hang over the top. So let me flip this over so you can see. So you want this little piece here in the middle that's going to get covered by his nose to be right at the top. And that will cover the seam. Now the next piece is going to be his nose. Now this is the nose that they show on the front. This nose comes from the main set, the 1131, and it's this piece here, this one here, because there's 2 ovals, and it's the smaller oval that is in here. This one is used for like the dog nose and things like that. Now for the Mrs. Claus, I'm going to put a smaller nose on her, because I don't know, it just looked a little weird with the big nose on her. All right, so Santa now has a nose. Now he needs a mouth, which I'm just going to put a little bit of glue here under his nose. Grab my jewel picker, and I'm just going to put a little mouth right here. Just make sure his mouth is straight. And there he goes. All right, so now he has a mouth. All right, so now we have Santa's glasses. Now, if you have a Xyron machine, and I do, and I thought of this after I cut all the glasses and stuff out, you can take your paper, run it through your Xyron, and make yourself a sticky sheet, and then cut these out. And that way you can peel it off and put it on like a sticker. So his glasses are going to go right here. And just slide the glasses up to where the edges of the glasses meet the edge of the little section here, and that will be in the right place. All right, so next we have eyes. So we're going to put a little dab of glue here, and I've switched to my fine tip bottle. I'm use my jewel picker again. And the eyes, you want the circular part on top. Because if you do it with the circular part on the bottom, he looks like Angry Santa. You don't want an Angry Santa. And however you put those on, either straight up or curved, just make sure you put them on the same or else he'll look a little cross-eyed. Next we have his eyebrows. Now, before we put the eyebrows on, let's grab the hat, decide where the hat's going to be. And then the eyebrows, let's see, this is going to be like this. This is going to fold down. This will end up sitting here. So his eyebrows are going to go halfway in between. So let's go ahead and glue the hat on. Then the eyebrows can go in between. Now you don't need to put glue all the way to the end because the white trim is going to stick out and not attach to anything. So let me fold this back so it's not in the way. And I am going to place this on here where the trim is at the top of the hat. I mean, the trim is at the top of this little section here. So that way when we put our other sections here, they'll match up. So now he just needs two little eyebrows. And here again, don't put them pointed down or else you'll end up with a angry Santa. So let's grab his eyebrows. Give him one eyebrow. Give him two eyebrows. All right, now Santa has a face. All right, so now we need to finish what's going to be his head, because when you fold this down, this finishes his head and that's his ear. So you're going to need two tan pieces of this piece here. It kind of looks like feet, but it's actually his ears. So you just need to cut that out once because it cuts out two. So you want to make sure you have one for each side because they're going to go in opposite directions like this. So we will glue this one on. And just line it up with the bottom. Like that. And we will put this one on this way. So we want it going this way, so we're going to put glue on this side. And we'll line this up with this side. Okay. So now all we have left to do is to put trim around the top of this. Let me fold this back. I can see it, but it's a little tricky for you to see it. So I'm going to put glue on the piece that we put together. It's going to be the side of his hat. All down by where the trim is. And the curved part is going to go to the outside. So the flat part is up against Santa's head. And you're going to line this up on the next section. And you just kind of want to eyeball it to where it's going to match. That looks good. Now we'll put glue on the other side. And we will put this one on. Again, pull it down, kind of eyeball it. So it lines up and press. Okay. Now for these other three sections here, see there's three sections left, all you need is trim. And this trim is half, you only need half, so what you can do is cut it in half. This way you don't have to cut so many out. Okay. And we'll put one here. Make sure that's lined up with that. That comes down. Now what you can do is flip this upside down, and the little bit that sticks out here, just trim that off. I know it's white on white. It's hard to see. If I do it from this side, just snip it here. Then do the next one. So now his hat is done. So Santa's head is now complete. So put this to the side. Now let's bring in his body. Let's look at what the body's going to look like. So we have this here. This is definitely dry by now. All right, so now we decide which one's going to be the top of his body, which one's going to be the bottom. I just line it up here. So let's see what we're going to do here. So for the top of his body, this middle piece here where it's connected, we're going to start off with trim in the middle, which you can use this other half if you want, because this piece is going to come across and cover it up. Or you just start with a fresh one. I'm going to start with a fresh one, since I think I cut about a dozen of these suckers. We're just going to put some glue on here. I'm going to start at the top, at the fold. Put that down. Then I'm going to take the scissors and snip that off. Now I'll take a whole one. And this is going to go across here, and I'm going to leave the ends overhanging. I'm not going to trim that, because when it opens up, it will make sense. Now I want this to overhang just a little bit to cover that seam. Like that. Okay? Now we're going to go around all the other pieces, and we're going to do the same thing. Now we'll do this one first. Want to kind of line it up here. Now for this one, once it's glued on there, you just snip off the ends. Like that. Now we'll do the one on the other side here. Do the same thing. Right. Now we'll do these two. Do the one on this side. I'm not doing the one on the back yet, because the one on the back you're going to leave long. We're going to take one. Put glue across the back. We'll put this on here in the center with it hanging off equally on both sides. Check it. It needs to come down just a tad. That's good. And that's good. All right, so we'll leave that. All right, next we are going to do his buckle. So his buckle, glue over here for a second, is this piece here. This piece here in the Santa set is the buckle. So we need one of those. And I'm just going to open it a little bit. I did cut out 2 in case I ripped it when I was doing this. So I just want to make it a little easier when I thread his belt through here. Okay. So now Santa, if you look at this piece here, it has 2 bars. One's a short one, one's a long one. The Santa belt is the short one because when you put it on, you're not putting it all the way down on the bottom. The longer piece is for Mrs. Claus's apron strings, which is going to sit along the bottom. So we're going to use the shorter one for Santa. Back out the other side. So it looks like this. All right. So now this, you see this is at an angle. Let me get this closer. You see this is at an angle. So what you want to do is you're just going to sit this where it naturally comes to the end. So right here. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing all the way around. That is all of Santa there. So now we need his hands. So for his hands, we have his 2 gloves. We have 2 arms. So the skinny part is where his hands are going to go, and his thumbs should be facing inward. This just goes on the bottom. Like that. And the cuff goes over the top. Now when you put the cuffs on, just make sure you put them in the same direction because they are different on the top and the bottom. Really doesn't matter which one's the top and the bottom. Just make sure you put them on the same. Now the hands you can put on now, or you can wait till you put it together and decide exactly where you want to put the hands. It's up to you. We're going to put one arm here, one arm on this side. Now when this is all put together, his arms will be at his side. So now all we have left is his feet, and his feet I'm going to wait and put on at the very end once he's all put together. It's just easier to line up his feet that way, I think. All right, so I think Santa is complete. Let's see. I think we are all done with Santa. All right, now let me regroup and get all the pieces for Mrs. Claus. All right, I'm all reloaded and ready to make Mrs. Claus. So let's start with her head. Now I've gone ahead and did what I did with the other ones, glued it all together, folded it, because they're exactly the same, regardless of what pieces you're going to put on the outside. They're exactly the same. We don't need to do that again. So Mrs. Claus needs 1, 2, 3, 4 of the flesh colored pieces. So let's glue those on. now let's do her face. So let's start with her nose. So here you can see I put the little nose on here because it just, to me, it just looked better than the big nose. So let me grab her little nose. I'm going to put this on this side since I am left-handed. This will work better. All right, so we're going to put, let me close this glue. Take this. We're going to put a little bit of glue here in the middle. I'm going to pick up her nose. Stick it on, hanging it off just a little bit. Now I'm going to put a little glue underneath for her mouth. Pick up her mouth. Now we're going to do her glasses. I have them upside down. And her glasses will fit just on her nose. Once again, put the glasses down to where it just fits. There we go. And we'll give her her eyes. Here we go. Now her eyebrows. Now the top of her hair going to be a scalloped piece in the add-on set. That is this piece here. And I'll grab the die in a second. And that just fits across the top there. And that's just going to sit on top. And that is this piece here. So then you're also going to need 5 more to go around. Oh no, they go on the bottom. Never mind, take that back. Now the top of her head, we're going to put on her hat. I mean, not her hat, her bun. Now if you don't want her to have a bun, she doesn't have to. But this, you just fold the tab down. And that is this piece here that kind of looks like an ornament. That's going to cover the hole on the top. And fold down. And then she has a little bow that can be in her hair. And that just goes down here on the bottom. Make sure that's straight. Okay. All right, so that's her face. So now we need to do her hair. So she needs a little bit more of her face hair, but then down here needs to be the bottom of her hair. So she needs 2 white and 2 flesh tone of the ones that kind of look like feet. So the ones on top will be brown, the tan color, whatever you're going to use for flesh color. And they're going to sit here like this. So let's glue those down. But I really like these balls that pop up. I've made snowmen. I made a big giant clown for my brother who's afraid of clowns for his birthday. Thought that was fabulous. And anybody that has a little brother will understand that. So then these 2 are going to go on the bottom. So these really don't need to be reinforced with the little extra little pieces because we're now putting 3 layers on here. So this is going to be nice and sturdy. But yeah, you can, if you get all 3 size balls, you can make some really nice jack-in-the-boxes and things and all kinds of characters. If you look on Karen Burniston's site, you will see all kinds of things people have made these into. It's pretty impressive. All right, so now her head is complete. So this is going to come up like this. This is going to be here, and that's going to be her head. So her head is now finished. We'll put this over here to dry, and let's grab the bottom. All right, so now this is where the 6 pieces are going to go. So we're going to start here on the top, because that needs to be underneath her apron. We're going to start gluing these on. So there's that. So now her apron will go on the front. And for this, you just want to line up the top. Put that in the center. Now the bottom of her apron will go down here. Now her trim, make sure I have it going in the right direction here. Yeah. So for her trim, the whiter part is going to be on the top. Remember, this is the piece that the same piece that we cut Santa's belt out of, except this is the longer of the 2 pieces. Santa's belt was the short one, and this one is the long one. When you put this on, you want it to sit, it's caught. You want it to sit just above the fold. See how you can just see it? And that way when it opens up, it will hide the fold. Now there's a pocket. Now on the front of the packaging, they show the pocket on the top, but I'm going to put the pocket on the bottom. That's what I did here, and I kind of liked it down there. So I'm going to put her pocket over here. You can put the pocket anywhere you want. All right, so now the rest of her apron strings are going to go on the bottom piece. So they're going to go along the bottom. So that's now done. So now we need her arms. So once again, just like with Santa, 1 arm each way, 2 hands. And then her feet we'll do at the bottom. And her feet are the ears from the original set, the 1131. If you take this piece here and this piece here, this will be red, and this is the flesh color. This will look like she's wearing like little slipper style shoes. So those are the two pieces you're going to need for her feet. So you'll need 2 of each. And this will just get glued on top. All right, now all that's left is to put them together with the rubber bands. All right, everything's had a chance to dry, so now we're going to glue everything together. So now everything's had a chance to dry, so now we're going to glue things together. So I'm going to do this step by step with the one, and then I'll probably speed up for the second one. So what we're going to do is you're going to take the other side that has the little slits in it, and we're going to glue those together. Now remember, these get folded in like this. All right, now you're going to need size 12 rubber bands. Now this is, I have a lifetime supply because I bought a pound of them on Amazon, not realizing how big that bag was going to be. So I have enough for the world. Karen Burniston does sell them in smaller containers on her website if you only want a small, reasonable size of rubber bands. So what you're going to do is you're going to find the one with the slots that is on the outside. You know what? Let me do it on this one. Be able to see it easier if I do it before I glue anything together. So you're going to stick that in there. All right. So let's do that first, then we'll glue this together. And fold this down. Nice and even. Okay, and then you're going to start doing that for all the pieces. So we're going to go to this side. So you have the 2 tabs. I'm going to fold the 2 tabs down and bring this together. Go to the other side, do the same thing. Now you want to do the one that has the slit to it last on the back side, and I'll show you in a second. You want to use a glue for this part that's going to grab it quickly. All right, so we have the piece in here that we're going to put the rubber band down. Now see, this side you can't see the slit, but on this side you can see the slit, and it's a lot easier. You just reach in, grab the rubber band. This one got tangled. Take it in your fingers like this and slide it in the slot like that. So you want to definitely hook it before you attach the back ones. So then you just take this tab and this tab. You're going to push it down. You're going to fold your tabs in and press it together. And you're going to do the same with the one you have left. Just hold it shut because the rubber band's already in there. Tuck in your tabs. And hold it shut. And now, this should lay flat. Everything should be adhered. If you need to put some clips on it to hold it, now this is where these clips are good again. Stick a couple on there. All right. So now I will do this one. All right, we'll give this a moment to dry. Now I already did Mrs. Claus because it would be the same way. So now we can go ahead and glue her head on while we wait for the rest of that to dry. So we're going to glue her head on like this. Now there is a hole there. If you wanted to put a brad on there, you could. Now we'll do her shoes. So we'll put glue across the bottom here. We'll put one here. And one here. Yeah, so her feet can go at a little bit of an angle on the bottom. Now she is ready for the card. So now they're all set. Now they'll push down and come up. So a couple things about the size card to put this in. If you only put one in, you can absolutely fit it in a A2 card, because when you push them down, they are 4 inches across this way with the middle size ball. If you use the bigger ball, you're going to need to put it in a 5x7 card. Now, to put 2 of them in there together, you need to have a slimline card. But if you put a regular slimline, the 4x9, it might stick out a little bit. So I have something that's slightly bigger, and we're just going to put a little latch on it. All right, so here's all the pieces we're going to need for our slimline card. Now this is not going to need an envelope, and it is going to be slightly bigger than a slimline. It's going to end up being 9 by 8 1/4, and you do need that extra 1/4 inch because Santa is barely going to fit in here as it is. And once you put this on here, it will be covered. But you definitely need that 1/4 inch. So what you want to do is you want to start off with an 8.5 by 11. You want to cut across the 9 inch first, which will give you this 2 inch piece of paper, and we're going to use this too. So we end up with a 9 by 8.5. We're going to fold that in half, which will then give us the 9 by 4 1/4. Then that's the inside, front. Then for the inside of the card, we have 2 papers that are 9 by 4 1/4, because I want to go edge to edge on the inside, so they will go inside. Let's glue those down. I'm going to switch glue. I'm going to switch back to the Collel glue, and I did finally break down and order some from Crafter's Companion in England. I tried a lot of other glues, and I like this glue the best. I tried a bunch. I tried probably a half dozen or so kinds of glue, and this is still my favorite glue. So they had it on sale a couple weeks ago, and I bought a bunch. So I should be good for glue now. I think the structure it adds to the card is nice. That it's clear. It does dry shiny, which is its only downfall. But when it starts, if it oozes out, it rolls right off. You can roll it up with your finger like this, and it comes right off. Now, we're probably going to have a little bit stick out here, but that will be fine. We can trim that because we are putting it in the seam. Like I said, these are 4 1/4 by 9. We're just going to put it right up to the edge, and it's going to go side to side. All right, so there's that. Now, the 2 inch piece you had that you cut off the bottom, you're going to score that at 1 inch and fold this in half. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tuck it in here. That's why you saw I didn't put glue all the way down to the bottom here. So now we're going to put glue here and here. Get that out of the way. And this is going to sit in here so it's hidden. I want this to sit flush with the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to have this strip in the front. We're going to cover both sides of this with the green. This green is 9 inches 5 1-inch. Oh, and I was going to score this. Getting ahead of myself. I want to put a little decoration here on the front. Let me grab my scoreboard. So what I'm going to do, because the front of the card, I'm going to put this piece here. And then I'm going to have a present and ho ho ho. And I put lines on here. So I want to have this piece of trim to have the same lines. So they were 1/4 inch lines. And how I did that was I put the paper on my scoreboard. And I scored it at, look, you know what? I'm doing this backwards. You want to put the side you're not going to face out, the inside part facing up. And you're going to score it every 1/4 inch. Oh, and there is the afternoon thunderstorm. So I'm down in Florida, and we've had some really weird weather patterns this summer. Normally we get rain. We're going to do the same thing on here, every 1/4 inch. Oh, and I'm doing it backwards again. 4:30 every afternoon. And lately we have been getting rain in the morning, in the middle of the day. So actually this at 3:35 where I'm filming this right now, it's actually pretty close to what it should be. So hopefully it doesn't get too loud out there. Any of you who have been in Florida in the middle of summer know what I'm talking about. All right, so we have our score lines here. So this is now going to match. So I did the same thing with this. I put this here. I did every 1/4 inch. And then I took my red velvet ink pad. And I simply ran it across here like this to get the pattern. All right, so we have 1/4 inch marks on here that we did on the side that's not going to show. And we have this for the front. So let's glue these on. Let's put some glue on here. And these were the strips that were 1 inch by 9 inches. And we're going to line this up with the bottom of the card. Right here. Oh, wait a minute, let me grab my magnets. So this magnet will go on the inside. So this is going to come up like this. Yeah, this needs to be on the inside. All right, so we can fit that in there. It'll be fine. So I'm going to slide the magnet. Let me turn this way. About halfway down. Let me grab my ruler. So this is 9. So at about 4.5 inches. Okay, people, that is a pretty good estimate on my part. I'll push that in there. I think I can go a little bit further in. And then we're going to put lots of glue. Make sure this all gets sealed up. All right, so this is in the middle. This is going to come down like this. This is going to come up like this. I'm going to let the magnet be where the magnet wants to be. I'm going to get some tacky glue. Move that out of the way so it will stop attracting it. That's going to go here. Then this is going to go over the top. We'll line this up. Before this completely dries, make sure we're good. All right, we are good. So now on the inside of the card, on the bottom, I'm going to put, "May your Christmas be merry and bright." And this also gives you room to sign and put a little note over here if you want it. Kind of does that. All right. I'm just going to edge it in black. I just think it needed a little bit of a frame. So this is now 8 3/4 by 3, and then this is 1/8 of an inch smaller. Yeah, I like that better. Okay, so we'll glue this together. And these just came from my stash. This is just something I had that I had done on my Cameo machine. And anything that is kind of basic to go on the front, be it a big Merry Christmas, be it anything simple, because no one's going to leave this card closed. It's going to be displayed open. So just put something on there that relates. And ho 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 relates definitely to Santa. Now, Mr. and Mrs. Claus are going to get glued inside here. And I'm going to glue them to what's actually the top. That way, when it opens up, they'll open up like this. So let's get some glue on the bottom here. All right, so now I need to put this down to where he's not sticking up. I'm going to close this on top of him. Okay, that works. And Mrs. Claus will go on this side and glue it before the glue sets in case we have to shift him a little bit. Everybody's in the card. All right, now for the moment of truth. Is the magnet going to be strong enough? So this is going to close like this. So ho ho ho, opens up, and they pop up like this. How cute is that? Just feel like it needs something here in the middle. Let me see what I can find. All right, so I decided it needed this little strip. I'm going to put this little gold strip down here. And this matches the paper that's on the inside. I'm going to put this down here. I'll add these measurements in. I'll have the complete list. All right, this is coming on here. And I have this little 3-dimensional bow that I've had for quite a while. You can put it either way. I'm going to put this in the middle. Feel where the magnet is. Put that right over the magnet. I want to put it this way. No. Maybe that way. All right, so that's going to sit there. Now I'm going to take the sparkle pen. I think we're done. I'm going to call that done. I'm going to stop fiddling with it. All right, so there it is. Ho, ho, ho on the outside. And when you open it up, may your Christmas be merry and bright. So there it is. All right, let me get this camera turned around. All right, so we're all finished. So here's our card. Ho, ho, ho. Ta-da! Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus, may your Christmas be merry and bright. That's a lot of fun. And I have the pieces that I will photograph and include in the blog, so you'll be able to follow this for the Santa Claus and the Mrs. Claus. And I hope you enjoyed all these videos for Christmas in July. And I hope this jumpstarts some thought on what you're going to make this Christmas for Christmas cards. And if you liked it, give me a like. And if you want to see the other videos that I'll make throughout the year, go ahead and subscribe. And I will see you again. And until next time, stay crafty.